As India continues to battle the invisible enemy, the country's armed forces have also joined the fight. Even in the past, be it natural disasters or aggression from across the border, India's armed forces have always come to the aid of our country and its citizens. A similar feat has seemingly been underway regarding the novel coronavirus. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has held review meetings with the Chief of Defence Staff as well as chiefs of our armed forces over the last few days. Under his able and proactive leadership, these three forces have stepped up their efforts to help manage and contain COVID-19. The Deputy Chief of Integrated Defence Staff, Madhuri Kanetkar, a three-star general of our armed forces, also informed the media of Operation Kojit. This operation, based on the cooperation of personnel from three wings of our forces, is aimed to aid the nation's efforts towards managing the pandemic.
We are all in this together, and in keeping with that, we are calling it Kojit. It means we are all getting together. The doctors decided we'll call it.
Beginning with the Defence Research and Development Organization, or the DRDO, there have been multi-sectoral initiatives to help India through the pandemic. A 500-bed COVID-19 facility has been set up in New Delhi and another one in Lucknow. This in addition to the 900-bed facility in Ahmedabad and the 500-bed ESIC hospital converted into a COVID facility. This already brings up the total to 1400 beds, with hospitals coming up in Muzaffarpur and Varanasi, and that is just the DRDO. Furthermore, the DRDO has also initiated the fabrication of 500 medical oxygen plants under the PM CARES Fund, with 2 such plants installed in Delhi at the AIIMS and RML hospitals. These developments are just another feat for the organization that has been using innovative techniques for sanitization machines and oxygen delivery systems since the pandemic first began. What's more, DRDO's anti-COVID drug has also been granted emergency approval. India's Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh, under the aegis from Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has been regularly reviewing the preparedness of Ministry of Defence and the Indian Armed Forces following the unprecedented spike in COVID-19 cases. In addition to the DG Medical Services, emergency financial powers have also been granted to the forces for procuring and effectively managing COVID-19 related resources. Let's now look at the Indian Army. No less than 510 beds of various capacities have been provided by the Army for treatment of COVID-19 patients. A development that comes in the wake of a massive drive that witnessed almost all personnel receive the first dose of vaccination and a majority even the second one. Close to 750 beds have also been set aside for civilian patients, whereas 1,000 beds have been put up at the base hospital in New Delhi. Their maritime counterparts aren't far behind. Apart from the beds that have been offered to local administrations across the country, the Navy has lent a big hand in easing up oxygen supplies in India. The INS Talwar of May 5th brought in critical supplies from Bahrain. Similarly, many other naval ships have brought in essential oxygen supplies, including filled cryogenic containers. All that with the Navy's surge capability still in reserve. Finally, the Indian Air Force. In addition to its duties, the Indian Air Force has provided unparalleled support that has significantly eased the logistical pressures on many Indian states. So far, in 50 sorties, 61 oxygen containers with 1,142 metric tons of oxygen capacity has been brought to Indian shores from abroad. Within the country, the Air Force has airlifted 230 containers with a staggering 4,257 metric tons capacity have been airlifted to shorten delivery times to mere hours. Not for one should we forget the role the Indian Air Force and Navy played during the world's largest repatriation exercise, the Vande Bharat. This coordinated effort is the finest examples of unity, strength, and solidarity that the people of India feel with each other. Not just beds and supplies, the three forces have offered to help with hundreds of medical personnel to ease the burden on India's healthcare services. At a time when the pandemic has returned and is even stronger, it is the efforts of our armed forces that have not just lifted our supplies but also our spirits.